Hi there, denizens of Medium and subscribers to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope everyone had some great holidays and you enjoyed time with your family or on your own, and that you're ready and excited for the new year and you're going to spend at least some of it writing. This video is going to be a 10-step checklist for writing a blog post on Medium. Thank you so much to one of my email subscribers, Ryan, who suggested this video idea. Ryan, if you're watching this, I really appreciate it. Okay, let's go. Step one is for the people who have never written an article on Medium before. So if you've written one and you want to know what else is on the checklist, feel free to skip ahead to the next steps. First things first, get started and set up with a Medium account. All you'll need is a username and a bank account, really, if you want to start getting paid. Create an account on Medium. I like to use a Gmail one, so it makes it a lot easier to sign in later. I also would recommend Grammarly. Medium is big on quality over quantity. Having Grammarly is just a little bit of an extra nudge to get some of the wording and the spelling correct, and that's going to matter later on. Finally, you'll want to set up a Stripe account so that you can connect for payment. This is optional, but it's nice to be paid for writing, even if it's just a few pennies at the start, which was definitely the case for me. So you can link that to your Medium and start earning for writing. That's pretty much it for step one. Just account, Stripe, Grammarly, then you're ready to fire off your very first post. Step two is to get a blog idea. For some people, this is the hardest thing. You're gonna have to find out what is interesting enough for you to write a whole article about it. There are a couple different places that I like to use to get ideas. I've actually created a whole video about it already, so you can see the link here, maybe. For me, I get my ideas from reading Twitter, really, talking to my friends. My cats are an eternal source of inspiration for me as well. For you, it might be long walks on the beach, baths, watching your favorite soap operas. There's no judgment here. Good ideas come to you when they come to you. Step three, headline and image. This is possibly the thing that people think is pretty easy, but actually always benefits from spending a little bit more time. So feel free to spend 15 to 20 minutes on this step, really coming up with a good gripping headline and finding an image that matches it. If I were you, what I would do is look around on your idea, Google a few keywords and see what comes up. See what headlines rank highly on Google for those keywords. That's going to be the structure that you're going to like to use. Try not to make it too clickbaity, like this will surprise you. Medium doesn't tend to care for that. But don't give everything away in the title, because if you do, nobody will click. What I like to do, and what I recommend other people do, is keep it relatively standard in the title, and then on the subtitle, you can get a little interesting, a little bit more quirky, something to pique readers' interests. Now the image. It's said that eyes are the windows to the soul, and I firmly believe that headline images are the windows into the soul of your article that you're gonna write. Think about that when you are picking out the image. What image is going to represent your whole article to the world? Again, I really recommend spending some time on Medium, seeing which images tend to come up quite often. So for example, there's one of a woman with like mascara coming down her eyes holding like a paper smile on her mouth that people use for depression, mental health, suicide awareness. That's great. It's quite overused. There are better images out there. Number four. So you have all your account bits set up, you have your blog idea, you've got your headline, your image. Now it's time to structure it out. So the very first thing I want you to do is think about if you were telling your story idea to a friend. Somebody asks you, what are you writing an article about? 5 sentences. Go. What are they? Once you've written those down, congratulations, you have the structure of your article. You've got your introduction, your 3 middle paragraphs, and your final paragraph. Now, you can get artsier with you if you want with the structure. You don't have to do it, like they taught us in high school, intro, 3 supporting paragraphs, conclusion. But if this is your first article, or if you just want to keep it simple, this is what I would recommend. 3-pronged approaches are really popular for a reason. It's long enough to give substance to your article. It's not so long it's going to bore readers. I really recommend the 5-paragraph approach. So then you've got your structure. Now what I would do is inside of each of these little paragraphs, do the exact same thing. So your introduction. What are your introduction in 5 sentences? I think this issue is important. I think it's important because of this. I'm going to tell you why it's important. This is why you should trust me. This is my conclusion. That's your introduction. Put all that in the top. You're going to fluff it out a little bit later. Do the exact same thing for the following paragraphs. For conclusion, the most important thing is the concluding sentence, because at the end of that, people are going to decide if they want to follow you or not. So leave them with a strong takeaway. If you wanted them to take one thing away from the article they've just read, what is it? What is that sentence? That is your conclusion, and that's where you're going to draw the line and not write anymore. And then right there, hopefully, is your little author profile, and they could just click follow. And then you'll have a reader for life. Congratulations, the hardest part is over. You have set up your account, You've got your blog idea, you have the headline, you've got your image, you've got your structure, your bullet points. The hard part's done. You can have a cup of tea to celebrate like I am. The next steps are just kind of polishing. First, step 5 is to fill it out. You've got your structure, just fill in the extra detail that you missed on the first draft, add any additional examples, any citations, anything else that you think makes your story stronger. Step 6, read your story aloud. Do not skip this step. You might think, oh, I can read with my eyes. No, read it aloud. Force yourself to walk through the entire thing. It might take you 10 minutes. If it's a long piece, it might take you 20. Trust me, no matter how long it is, it's worth it. When you're writing a story, you're not writing to your readers. You're talking to them. You're telling them, this is what I think about a subject, and this is why I think you should think that too. This is gonna help with a couple of things. First, and most basic, it's gonna pick up a lot of grammar and spelling issues. Our eyes just skip over it. They see what they wanna see. Our voice is a little slower, so it's gonna pick up errors and typos. The second thing it's gonna help with is structure. A lot of times when I read something aloud, I realize, oh, this is great, but this paragraph needs to be higher up, or this paragraph doesn't add anything, or this paragraph repeats itself. And finally, reading it aloud, you have a sense for your own author voice. You have a much better idea of what your readers think of you as an author, and that's a very valuable thing to have. Okay, step 7. This is the fun part. Shop around on Pexels or Pixabay for some royalty-free images to bolster your piece. They don't have to be super special. They can just be a little pop of color. Or as you find yourself reading aloud, you might think, oh, this made me think of a confrontation, or a woman sitting on her own, or a beach. Find those images in Pixabay or Pixels and pop them in. It's gonna really boost your story. Reading is a visual experience. Give them something to look at. Step 8, understand the editor. I have a whole video about this. I'll try to put it here. The Medium editor is powerful in its simplicity. Make sure you understand it. Make sure that you formatted everything the same. Look around on popular stories on Medium and see how they've formatted theirs, and see if that's a style you like or if you want to try something else. Number 9, make sure it looks beautiful. It's good to look at it one last time and make sure it looks good. There's enough empty space, like white space. If you're noticing giant paragraph chunks, cut them up. If you're noticing that it's just a line here, a line there, a line there, think about combining them. If you're noticing that your paragraphs are very short under your headings, think about extending those paragraphs or combining your headings. Make sure, as easy it is to read, that your article is nice to look at, beyond the images, that it's a beautiful piece of black on white. Finally, you're gonna do a 3-pronged finish. Pick the publication you want. Publications on Medium matter. They're gonna be a home for your story. You can self-publish, you don't need to put it in a publication, but having a publication means that it's gonna reach beyond just your audience. If you're a new author, this is really important. Take the time to find a publication that meets your story, that fits it well. Oh, I'm just gonna show you my cat. He's keeping me company. Hey, baby. It will be worth your while to at least seriously consider which publication will accept your story. Now, if you're already accepted as a writer there, perfect. You just click that story to submit it, and basically that's it. If you haven't been accepted yet as an author, what I would do is Google the publication name, like the Ascent Publication Guidelines for Accepting Writers. And most good big publications that you want your stories to be getting into will have a submissions guidelines. So that's part A. Part B, pick out tags. Tags, I think, are more important than some people realize. So let's quickly recap curation. Curation is when a Medium distributor looks at your story and they're like, this is really good. I'm gonna share this not only with this author's followers, but also with the followers of any topic that I think the story fits into. So for example, if I write one about how much I love my cats, a distributor might put it into the pets tag. Anyone who follows pets, even if they don't follow me, might see that story. Curation matters. I think using the right topics, the right tags when you're tagging your story at the end is gonna help curators find the relevant stories. What I would do is go to medium.com/topics, and you'll see all of the topics that a story can be curated in, and pick the 5 that you think are most relevant to your story. And that's gonna help your stories kind of get into the right eyeballs of the curators who will look at your story and hopefully decide that they think it should be curated. Finally, the last and hardest step, hit publish. Quick caveat, your story won't be perfect. It might flop. Heaven knows enough of mine have flopped that I know this to be very painfully true. A story's never finished. That's the beautiful thing about writing. You can always add more, you can always trim more, you can always edit more, you can always improve. But your job here is to put all of that aside and just hit publish. You might stumble, you might hesitate, you might publish it and find out that you have a huge glaring typo in the headline. I've done that before, don't feel bad, it happens. But you have to hit publish because that's the only way that your story is going to get out there to your readers. Every other step is more or less optional. This is the one that matters the most. Hit publish, submit your story into the publication or your own blog or the ether or whatever, and let readers find you. Okay, so that was my 10-step checklist for writing a blog post on Medium. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comment box. If you have any comments, also drop them in the comment box. If you like what you see in this video, feel free to subscribe. I put one out every Sunday, and I look forward to seeing you in a week. Have a great week in the meantime, folks. See you soon. Bye.